Welcome to the show that'll keep you from falling behind during the week. With your hostesses with no ghostesses, Jackie and Belinda, here for the Friday Ketchup on the Paracrust Radio Network.
And welcome everyone to another week of Friday Ketchup. Hi, Jackie.
Hello.
How was your birthday?
It was fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. That's the way we need them to be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you did. I thought you'd forgotten.
No, I remembered. Don't ask me how I remembered, but I remembered.
You remembered somehow.
Yes. Yeah. Look, my brain's all over the place. I'm lucky to even know what day of the week it is lately, so... Woohoo!
Well, I do have some good news. I got quite a surprise.
Mm.
Well, I signed on to Twitter, and Janie had sent Laura K. Hamilton a message on Twitter saying, could you tell Jackie Spade happy birthday? She's a huge fan of yours. Now, there are some celebrities that will do this. I've followed Laura K. Hamilton for a while, and I've seen her do this once or twice. And it's usually to people that she either knows in real life or she's retweeted or spoken to quite frequently on Twitter. She doesn't do this for every, average Joe that comes along asking for a birthday request. So I was like, she's not going to do it. But 10 minutes later, I get happy birthday from Laura K. Hamilton.
Oh my God!
I proceeded to squee, similar to what I did a while ago with the book.
Oh, come on. It would have been worse than that.
It was, actually. Because no one was around to hear me.
Oh my God. So if a fangirl squees when there's no one around to hear it, does she actually squee?
I did. There's no eardrums around other than my own. And I can't hear out of my right ear at the moment, so hey, I only have one I have to worry about.
So you just screamed extra loud to just make up for it?
I did. I really did. Yeah, so take what I did like a minute ago, which will explain the other squee in a moment. Mm-hmm. But take what I did a while ago and multiply that, and yeah, that's what she got. It was, I was, oh my God. I'm still kind of speechless when I stop and think about it, because it's like, she has seen me around on Twitter enough to, wish me a happy birthday. Oh my God!
Oh my goodness! That's like... Or in the ear-piercing squeals of the girls from Puberty Blues, it's like...
Yeah, actually. I kind of turned into a girl before puberty and...
Uh-huh. Kind of like what those girls do when Justin Bieber pokes his head out of his hole. It's like... Ah! Except, like, higher pitched and yeah. There you go. You've been compared to a Justin Bieber fangirl. Don't you just love me?
After recording, I'm going to go shoot myself in the head.
Oh, but then we won't have any more shows.
Well, that's too bad. It's your fault. Let the record show, and it will be written on my tombstone, it was Belinda's fault.
Oh, well, that sucks. Oh, blimey. See, I haven't had any joy over the weekend. I'm actually trying to start a new blog series on burnbright.com.au where I'm like trying to troll Facebook. Well, I shouldn't say troll Facebook. Yeah. I'm trying to find makeup artists on Facebook that have a really positive outlook, and, you'd be surprised. There are quite a few that aren't. So, it's kind of like that, and then I'm, like, trying to contact them and, like, ask them questions like, what do they consider to be true beauty? Really weird, boring, random questions, but nobody's answered me.
Oh.
I'm like, well, I can't get an interview blog series going unless someone answers the goddamn interview questions. So...
Language.
I know, but I'm pinged off, man. Really, really pinged off. Maybe you should ask Laura Hamilton. I don't know. She answers you.
I have been trying. Like, I've been dropping little hints on Twitter here and there. Hey, you should come and let us interview. Dude, if we got an interview with Laura K. Hamilton, I would cry and pee myself at the exact same time.
That would be a show that if Audacity ate... Oh, my God. No, I save everything before everything now, so if it dies, I've at least got the 6-second slots, so it wouldn't completely kill it, but...
I have a feeling it would be one of those moments where I would be forced to buy the software, and we would both be recording.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Okay, so we're both going to hit record now. All right, so...
Oh, my goodness.
2 people recording, just in case.
Yes, and so that we can both have our own copies, and one copy, you know, my copy, I'll sound really good, and you'll have, like, little tiny breaks in it, and then your copy, I'll sound a little bit better because my clicky, stupid, tappy thing won't be showing up every time. Oh. I'm so sick of this headset, hey? So anyway, yes, we would love to interview Laura K. Hamilton. Hint, hint.
So Laura K. Hamilton, if you happen to be listening to this for whatever reason, because you have absolutely nothing to do today...
Mind you, though, if you're listening to this and not writing a goddamn book, then friggin' get back to the computer, lady. We need that book.
Give it to me now.
Not that I've read the last one, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And speaking of books, what have you been reading?
I have been reading the 3rd book in the Elemental Mysteries series by Elizabeth Hunter called The Force of Wind. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, this series is one of those books where you do have to read them in order. Because each book adds on to the mystery. And basically, theoretically, by the time we get to the 4th book, mystery should be solved. I'm not sure because I thought it was just 4 books in the series, and then I discovered that there's a new one coming out. Hence the squee.
The squee that we were referring to before. Yep. Anyway, yep. Before. The thing.
But anyway, I'll read what book 3 is about, because I actually have I guess what would be the equivalent of a blurb. Let's see. The Force of Wind. How far would you go to protect the ones you love? What would you sacrifice to kill the one you hate? Join Giovanni Vecchio and Beatrice de Nova as they travel to a hidden island in the far edge of China and seek the help of an ancient immortal court. Can they weave their way through the tangled web of centuries-old alliances and ruthless feuds to find what they've been looking for? Friends will be revealed, enemies will find them, and a dangerous secret will come to light. The 3rd book in the Elemental Mystery series will see Giovanni and Beatrice joined by a group of unlikely allies as they explore the history and myth of the Far East. Many have been stolen, but only one holds the key.
Sounds intriguing.
Yes, and for those of you who are keeping up or reading this, or are interested in reading this, the next book, called Building from Ashes, because Giovanni Vecchio, the main vampire, is a fire vampire. So this book is probably going to be about him. It's coming out on October 23rd, so you've got a week to catch up.
Ew.
Get it? Catch up.
Oh, well, at least it's not coming out on a Friday. That'd be just, like, really awkward.
Yeah, a little bit. I wouldn't be at the show.
We'd be there going, where's she gone, dang it? And Robin would be there going, oh, she's reading again.
I actually got in trouble because Janie was trying to contact me that Friday that you gave me the book. and I didn't respond for like 3 hours because I had completely zoned into this book and I had no idea my phone was going off. She got mad at me for that.
I know that feeling. You need to put that post up on Facebook, the one that's going around that says something about, leave a message after the tone of the book closing. I'm not going to hear you before then. I got finished reading Stella Rimington, The Geneva Trap. It's a Liz Carlyle novel. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's just, it took me a week, I think, to finish it. And yeah, that pretty much says it all. I mean, I'm going to review it still because, I really don't know what makes a good crime novel. I'm not really that adept at crime novels. I mean, I've read Laurel K. Hamilton for years, but they're not technically crime novels. They're paranormal romance. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that will completely disagree with me because there is a crime element in there. But, this one is like hard-boiled crime. It's like MI5 and, really tough stuff. Second book I got finished, which I actually finished yesterday, which was Sunday, which was days ago. Yep. Barry Maitland's All My Enemies, and that's that one that I said last week was a book you can't put down and then promptly put it down. Put it this way, I started that book at about 4 o'clock on Saturday, and I had it finished before 8 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Wow.
So, it was so quick to read. Like, you start off and it's like it really gallops along. It's really, really cool. It's interesting. And next thing you know, you're like 175 pages in and you're like, oh, what the hell, I'll just keep reading. So next thing you know, you've got only like 30 pages to go and you're like, well, I'll leave that till the morning. And, then it takes you nothing to get through it in the morning. So that was a really nice surprise. And I'd agree with their book you can't put down. Did really, really good work. It's also a crime mystery. Based in the UK, or set in the UK. One of the very few male authors that can actually get a female protagonist to the point where you don't want to strangle her for being so womanly and stupid.
Or overly sexual,
or just being a numbnut. I mean, how many men write women as if we're completely dumb?
Yeah.
The book that I'm currently reading is Falling to Ash by Karen Mahoney. Now, there's a bit of a story behind this one. The first book I ever reviewed for Burn Bright was an anthology. I think it was called... I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it was all these vampire stories and... some were good, some were crap. There was a Stephanie Meyer story in there that pretty much says it all. And then there was this book, this story by Karen Mahoney. And there's a girl who has been turned into a vampire at age 18. So she's extraordinarily young for, how this universe constructs their vampire community. And her vampire name is Moth. So kind of a bit odd there, but it's like, yeah, okay, I can handle that. But I loved the story that was in the anthology. And I'm sitting there and going, I know that there's going to be a bigger story come out. And so I just waited and waited and waited. So this is like 2 years later that this book has finally come out. So I'm like, oh, I must have it. So
similar to the squee I did earlier.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm like, oh. And then to make matters even more worthy was I'd bought my copy off Book Depository, which, if you don't know what that is, that's an online bookshop based in the UK. So the UK quite often gets really different covers from anywhere else in the world. And I was, I just thought, oh yeah, I'll get that book. It'll probably come out quicker than it will in Australia. And then I started seeing this book around all the department stores here. And I'm looking at the covers, I'm going, have I got the same cover? I don't think I do. But the covers in Australia are just so meh. You know, it's sort of like those grey meh moths in comparison to those massive giant ones that you find that have just like got all the colours and the gigantic feelers and everything. You know, it's sort of the comparison between. And then my copy came in the mail and it's got all these gold accents and it's just, oh, so pretty. So to anybody who got the Australian copy and not the UK copy, na 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 na, mine's prettier than yours. So anyway, yes, the book's really good so far. Brag about the cover more than the book, but I'm 203 pages in of 341. Or 342 pages, so got about 142 pages to go.
You know, the thing that I have always enjoyed about books, which, to be completely honest with you, I have never understood the people that say they don't like to read. I don't understand that. Like, even nonfiction books can take you to a whole different realm of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite thing about reading is when you get so caught up into it, the world around you just kind of disappears. And then you think, oh, I've been reading for like 2 hours now. Oh, well, I'll just read this next chapter. 2 hours later...
you're like 4 chapters more in, and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my.
I should probably go to bed, and I'll just read another chapter. And then it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh, crap.
You got like 3 pages to go, you're like, oh... yeah, just finish it.
Well. But I love that moment. I love finding books that can make you do that. And, like, a lot of the beginner, or, like, Guilty Pleasures and, you know, Laura K. Hamilton's very, very first books, you know, those did that to me. I just, I love books.
But I suppose, I mean, judging by that, though, I suppose that's what maybe gets people into reading 50 Shades of Grey and the Twilight books and all that. I mean, we may poo-poo them, but hey, if those people are feeling that towards those books, who are we to judge them?
As long as you're reading. I mean, I don't necessarily like any of those books. I don't particularly like the fandom behind them, but, you know, at least they're reading. The worst could be they could, you know, be going out and making poor novels of their own, and I don't necessarily mean writing them.
But I mean, I had the Twilight books read in a week, so, you know, they're not that hard to read, but, you know, you do get kind of swept up in it. My biggest fear is that I start reading, and instead of having the fear of I should be going to sleep, it should be getting the phone call from my daughter's school saying, are you going to pick her up at any stage this afternoon? And it's like, oh. And I have had it so that I've heard the school bell, and I'm like, what was that? Whoops. So, luckily enough, I think she'd been playing on the playground when she'd been telling me she'd been kept in after school. So she didn't notice, and as long as she doesn't know about it, it's fine. But I've also had it so that I'm so enthralled in reading the book that I'll take it grocery shopping with me, and I'll be reading it around the shop, and I'll just run into people. So I have apologised a few times, but, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, my husband going, "Would you put it away just for like 5 minutes?" It's like, but I don't want to. That's not fair.
I've had moments kind of like that. Actually, last night was one of them. I was reading on my tablet, and I was trying to... You ever notice that you kind of slow down all of your movements while you're reading and walking at the same time? It's like walking in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching over, grabbing something, and it's like you've been slowed down.
Yep.
It's like, so, what would normally have been a 5-second, thank you, Mom, for hooking the wire into my toe. I appreciate that. She gave me my wire back, but she wanted to make sure I didn't drop it, so she just hooked it between my toes.
Fantastic.
Anyway, what would normally have been a 5-second trip from outside to my room turned into like a 10-minute slow walk down the hall.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like being able to lose myself like that.
What was it, Wednesday last week? I introduced someone who isn't really a reader into the Mecca of Brisbane reading. So I took him into Pulp Fiction, and he sort of looked around and went, "There's a lot of books." I'm like, "Yes, but these are like awesome books." And because there's also Rosemary's Romance, which is actually an award-winning store down the road, and I'd sort of mentioned that I wanted to take him to more than one bookshop, and he's like, "Well, do you want to go to the second one?" I'm like, "Do I really want to experience this underwhelming, there's books again?" I'm like, "You know what? No, don't worry about it. That's okay. We'll just go back to the car. That's fine." I was just like, I don't understand people that don't understand the joy of reading.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, how can you not, are desperate to just go into a bookshop and see what's there?
Now, granted, I tend to hang out, in the paranormal romance section, and with most books, it's going to be a hit or miss process. But at the same time, it's so fun. You almost feel kind of like a detective trying to find this really good story, or a book that sounds really interesting. At least to me, that's what I always feel like. I always feel like I'm Sherlock Holmes trying to find, this plethora of interesting stories.
But you know where I look when I go to places like the library to look for books? I go to the returns trolleys. Because I figure if it's on the shelf, people either don't like it, it's rubbish, or there's that many copies and, it's a bit meh. But if it's on the returns trolley, then it has just been read. So obviously someone has just loved it and, they've taken it home and read it. So I have found some of the most awesome books on the returns trolleys. Chloe Neal's series. There is actually another one out, which I haven't bought yet, but her vampire series, the Chicagoland Vampires, fantastic. They can still eat, and I love that about the vampires. Because not many vampires get to eat. So she's like, her maker is like this, God knows how many centuries old vampire, and he's lived in, Philly, I think it is, or somewhere like that, for ages, and he's never had the junk food of the area. And it's just like, how can you live in a place and not eat the junk food that's native to that area? Oh my God. So yeah, there's that whole level of awesomeness in that series. So yeah. Anyway.
So as we're saying, yeah. I think the public service announcement for this particular show is go and find something. Go and read something. Start off small if you have to, if you're not really a big reader, and then expand from there. Start off with the free books on Amazon, because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you actually have to have a Kindle, because you can read them on your computer. You can buy the Kindle edition, or, if it's for free, still buy it, and you can read it on your computer. So still, go and start with free books if you don't have the money. Go to the library. Do something. Lose yourself in a book every once in a while. It's great.
And it doesn't have to be one that doesn't have pictures. I mean, they've got some great anime, manga, graphic novels, comic books. Even a magazine counts. So go and read something.
Yes.
Even a cookbook counts as far as I'm concerned, because so many cookbooks now have actual stories in them behind the cook's journey to getting to that particular recipe.
Especially if you get some of the local cookbooks that were made by local people. They will tell little stories about family traditions, how this particular meal came to be, things like that. So that's kind of cool. I know we do it here.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't really get local cookbooks, and there are a couple, I think, in the 4 ingredients cookbook, and that's about as local as my cookbooks get. So I don't know.
Well, these are done by churches and stuff like that.
Oh, we have the Country Women's Association for that. That's fantastic. But yeah,
there you go.
Okay, we should get on with some stories. We're going to, fly through some, so if we don't chuck, one-liners in there, don't be offended. It's not that we don't like the story, it's just we have some really important stuff to get to come the end of the show.
So we may actually just fly through without any jokes, and then we'll stop towards the end and kind of breathe.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, we've got some doozies in here today, so...
Yeah, and we're thinking about starting a Bright Sparks section, so if you happen to be scouring the depths of the internet and you come across one of the stupid criminals, pass those stories our way, and you might actually see them on air.
Yes.
Or hear them on air, because this is radio.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Cool.
Anyway, elderly English couple unwittingly grows giant cannabis plant in the backyard from October 9th. British police say an elderly couple unwittingly grew a monstrous cannabis plant in their yard after buying what they thought was an innocuous green bush at a flea market. Police in Police in Bedford, a commuter town 90 kilometers from central London, posted a picture of a luxuriant cannabis plant growing as tall as the fence in what appeared to be someone's backyard. In a message posted to Twitter on Friday, the force said the plant had been seized today. That's one way to seize the day, I guess. Whoa, man. Elderly couple bought shrub at car boot sale, tended carefully biggest cannabis plant we had seen, the message exclaimed. Further details about the couple, or how either it or the police got wise to the plant's true nature, weren't immediately available.
Okay, I'm thinking, what did the sign say that was above that? Pot plants for sale? I mean, seriously, that is what the signs say at local flea markets around here, at least, pot plants for sale, $2 a pot plant, whatever. You're not necessarily always getting pot from around here, though, because we do actually have police presence, so...
Maybe they got confused and thought it said potted plants for sale.
Well, we don't call it potted plants. We just call it pot plants.
Weird.
But generally, marijuana is still known as pot, but, you don't necessarily mean the literal pot thing. This one's really gross. I do apologise if you're all eating breakfast or afternoon tea or whatever. I've just had 2 Milky Ways, so if it comes back to get me, yeah, it's my own fault. Oh, I can't believe I'm going to read this. Anyway, man dies after winning roach eating contest in Florida, as you do in Florida. October 9th, a Florida man died after winning a python in a bug-eating contest that saw him consume dozens of cockroaches, bugs, and worms. Okay, Edward Archbold won a female ivory ball python after eating his way to victory at the Bugs for Balls contest. That is a really unfortunate name, considering you're getting a snake at the end of it. Okay. Ben Siegel Reptile Shop in Deerfield Beach in Florida on Friday. He ate dozens of bugs, worms, and roaches. Shortly after his win, the 32-year-old threw up and collapsed in the front of the store. The Broward Sheriff's Office said he was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. While an autopsy report is still pending and the exact cause of Mr. Archibald's death is unknown, police said none of the other contestants felt ill. Luke Lerotte, a lawyer for the reptile store, said the bugs eaten in the competition were taken from an inventory of insects that are safely and domestically raised in a controlled environment as food for reptiles. The store confirmed on its Facebook page that the python is being kept in Edward's name and will be given to his estate. I really don't want to say this line, but it's like sitting there bugging me. Haha. This is like the big argument to chew before you swallow somehow. And I'm sorry, but if my husband won a snake in a bug eating competition, I think I just want the store to keep the snake because obviously he's off his rocker.
And the husband.
Yeah, ew. Keep the snake, keep your bugs. Blah.
I hate cockroaches, like, on a level that isn't healthy, so that just makes me... Moving on, before I throw up or something. Sex offender Wilbert Matheny allegedly burglared a home while wearing a GPS anklet. I like the fact that everything is allegedly.
Well, it's not proven, I suppose, but, you know. Yes.
But he had a...
This is our nomination for the Bright Spark of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
a man has been charged... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Roach Man's pretty cool, but this one just takes the cake. Haha.
A man has been charged with burglary. His court-ordered GPS ankle monitor led police straight to him. Wilbert Matheny, 48, a registered sex offender, allegedly broke into a home wearing a global tracking device strapped to his ankle. They just said the same thing like 3 times.
Yep.
Lo and behold, the GPS tracker put Matheny in the victim's home on the date and at the time of the burglary. Lieutenant Paul Vernon said in a statement, Matheny, 48, again, we know he's 48 unless Matheny, 48, is his name.
Maybe. I don't know. That's an awful lot of commas for a name, though.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But anyway. Matheny, 48, is accused of a home invasion robbery in Sylmar, Los Angeles, wearing the court-ordered ankle monitor and his trademark long salt and pepper hairdo. He was booked for residential burglary with no bail due to his post-conviction conditions and status as a registered sex offender. According to police, Matheny entered a property while a 90-year-old man and a woman, 48, so apparently there's Matheny, 48, and woman, 48. They're related. It's okay.
That just makes it worse. Because he's a sex offender. Ew.
He's a sex offender, and bleh. Anyway, the female said she saw the suspect with salt and pepper hair running away with a laptop computer. Police investigating the crime were told the suspect's description was of a man who had walked a small white dog routinely. They were then told about a group home for sexual offenders. Detectives learned most of the occupants were required to wear GPS ankle bracelets. They then traced Matheny's, they've misspelled his name, and he's not 48 now. Electronic history, which allegedly placed him at the home at the time of the crime. When detectives went to make the arrest, Matheny opened the door as a little white dog ran outside. The detectives just looked at each other and smiled.
Oh, maybe the little white dog was really cute.
Yeah, that's why they smiled.
Okay, strippers pole dance to appease the dead. Dressed in miniskirts barely covering their hips, the 2 girls took to the neon-lit stage and moved vigorously to loud, pumping pop music, their job to appease the wandering spirits. Oh, this is like that one we did, I don't know whether it was this year or last year, like the underground thing where they, like, steal the brides to marry the dead dudes.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. As the temple facade in the background changed colour from the fireworks lighting up the Taiwanese night sky, the show climaxed, with the pole dancing and striptease in front of an audience consisting of men, women, and children, as you do. Oh, that's a bit of a worry. This is hard work, but I need to make a living, said 18-year-old NN, out of breath after stripping for the crowd during the recent religious festival. Okay. NN had just earned Taiwanese $3,000 or $100. I suppose that's Aussie because it was an Aussie website for her act, which began on stage but ended as she mingled with the audience, letting men touch her for tips. La 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 la. Okay. Anyway, yep. I'm not going all the way through that because that's like really, really long. They strip for dead people. Yuck. Okay. Fantastic. Next.
I know a lot of men that would love to pick up and move to Taiwan now.
Well, you know, and they might even get a happy ending after it's all ended.
But
I don't know.
Anyway, Speaking of not-so-happy endings,
Hmm.
man caught carrying weapons, including a grenade, on U.S.-bound flight from October 10th. A man dressed in body armor was arrested by federal officials at Los Angeles International Airport after a smoke grenade, knives, a gas mask, leg irons, body bags, and a variety of weapons were discovered in luggage. Boston-bound Yongda Huang Harris, 28.
Wow.
Everyone has, numbers for last names today. Was arrested Friday on suspicion of transporting hazardous materials on a flight from Japan, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials said. Harris is a U.S. citizen whose permanent residence is in Boston, and he had begun living and working in Japan. He has been charged with one count of transporting hazardous materials, which carries a maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison.
No.
Harris drew suspicion when U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials at LAX noticed he was wearing a bulletproof vest and flame-retardant pants under his trench coat, triggering a formal investigation by Homeland Security special agents. In a search of Harris's checked luggage, numerous suspicious items were uncovered, including a hatchet, a collapsible baton, a biohazard suit, a full-face respirator, and billy clubs. The smoke grenade was subsequently X-rayed by the Los Angeles Police Department's bomb squad, and officials said the device fell into a category that is prohibited on board passenger aircraft by the United Nations. Depending on the conditions when it is ignited, the smoke grenade made by commando manufacturers could potentially fill the cabin of a commercial airplane with smoke or cause a fire. Duh.
Really?
I wonder what this smoke grenade does.
Oh, duh.
Really, guys? Really? Anyway.
Captain Obvious.
Attempts to reach Harris's family in Boston and other associates were unsuccessful. An investigation is ongoing. Harris is expected to make an initial appearance in federal court today, Australian time. So, okay, the question is, why did he need these things? I mean, was he actually planning on doing something? Did he just happen to have them?
Maybe he's like a Boy Scout.
Always prepared.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing I want to know is where's the condom?
And the something up the bum. Because we don't have that. Believe it or not, everyone, we don't have an up the bum story this week.
I know. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's where they found the smoke bomb.
Maybe. That would be kind of cool.
I don't know. But okay, judging by the list of things he had... Okay, last time I checked, there is no Inspector Gadget jacket where you can just go, Gadget, smoke bomb. I'm thinking it may... I don't think it was really the pants that triggered them to look at him a bit strange. I'm thinking it may have been the odd shapes poking out of his trench coat. Maybe they were hoping that it was like a turtle down his pants. I don't know, but where the hell would you keep all this stuff?
Oh, dear God. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. Maybe it is an up-the-bum story. Moving on.
I don't think there's really a segue.
Not really.
Bad habit. Nun caught stealing beer. From October 10th, a nun has been caught on CCTV stealing a beer. That's right, a nun. But it's the image of a bride of Christ helping herself to some amber nectar too good to be true. The sister was filmed walking up to a fridge in a convenience store and taking out a can. She then checks her surroundings before it disappears inside her habit. I don't want to know. She then grabs some water and another can of beer before leaving the shop. See, she's smart. She's always getting prepared because you know that if you have a glass of beer, you're supposed to have a glass of water and then have another beer. There you go. The footage filmed by an unidentified shop security camera was posted on YouTube at the weekend, but there has been speculation the clip is fake. Though if it isn't, it's one hell of a story. Ha 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 ha.
If she put that beer can where I think she did, I don't think she's a virgin for Christ anymore.
Well, unless it's another up the bum story, but They didn't say anything about uncomfortable wiggling.
Hallelujah!
Yeah.
Anyway. Right, so there is no segue for this one either.
Mm-mm.
Except maybe when he gets to prison, he might be done up the bum for the hell of it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Jeffrey McMullen tried to rob Ameriserve Bank in northern Cambria of $1 to be sent to prison, police said. A man tried to rob a bank of $1 because he hoped to be sent to a federal prison nearby.
As you do.
Okay. Jeffrey McMullen, a 50-year-old regular customer of an Ameriserve financial bank in the western Pennsylvania town of northern Cambria, handed notes to two tellers last Friday demanding $1, according to a police complaint reported to the Tribune Democrat. Mm-hmm. The tellers thought it was a joke. He then spoke with a new accounts employee and repeated he was robbing the bank for $1. Police say McMullen apparently wanted to be prosecuted federally so he could be taken to a prison in central Pennsylvania. Police could not immediately say why. McMullen awaits a preliminary hearing. The court records didn't list an attorney. Under terms set by a Northern Cambria district judge, he must undergo a mental evaluation and post $50,000 bail in order to win release from jail. One note given to tellers said FBI custody, preferably Loretta Pa, no press, seal all files, according to the complaint. Police took that to be a request that McMullen hoped authorities would not publicize his case. The other said, federal bank robbery, please hand over $1.
That was a bit odd.
A little bit.
I'm going to skip the next one because it's a bit morbid.
Yup.
Oh, damn, I get the other gross one.
Well, take your pick. Do you want the morbid one or the gross one?
Fine, I'll read the gross one. I'm sure you've all seen it on Facebook. If you haven't, then you're probably not looking at your updates as often as you perhaps should. Giant eyeball washes up on beach in Florida from October 12th. A giant eyeball the size of a grapefruit has been found washed up on a beach in the US. The eyeball, which is white and piercing blue, was found by a man on Pompano Beach. Is that it? In Florida and handed to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. The commission has so far been unable to identify what species the eye belongs to, although presumably it belongs to a marine animal.
Duh.
Yeah. That's kind of a Captain Obvious thing, that one. I think we need to make a Captain Obvious soundbite so we can go, duh.
Yeah.
After sending the eyeball to their research lab in St. Petersburg, the commission shared the photo of the giant orb on their Facebook page. Guesses about the probable owner so far range from large sharks and whales to giant squid. Oh, and don't forget Bigfoot. Yeah, 'cause he's in the ocean.
Hate to tell you people, but Bigfoot isn't a marine animal.
I don't know. But I mean, the picture's kind of ewy. But
it's not that bad.
On the other hand, it's kind of cool.
It's like, oh, that's cool.
I sort of looked at it and I went, Magic 8 Ball? I don't know. And then I read it and I'm like, yuck. But I'm thinking guesses about a probable owner so far range, or, you know, they're looking for the owner. I'm thinking look for the one with only one eye.
Yeah.
A kind of a giveaway.
Probably a giant squid or something.
I don't know, but, I mean, I've seen shark eyes up close in, like, Underwater World and stuff like that, and they don't generally have an eye colour, so I don't know.
No.
It's a bit weird.
We will see.
We will.
Okay, so now it is time to move into a little bit more of the serious portion of our show. I'm pretty sure everyone in our room has heard of this by now, and if not, well, you're about to. Another case of bullying, which landed a teenager to commit suicide, has surfaced. Mm-hmm. Except this one is probably the worst one I have heard so far. This one literally makes me ill. Her name is Amanda Todd. She was 15. Let's see. A teenager posted a heartbreaking video on YouTube chronicling years of bullying in school and online, cutting, and humiliation up until she died this week. Amanda Todd, 15, posted the video called My Story, Struggling, Bullying, Suicide, Self-Harm on September 7th, and was found dead in her hometown of Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, just over a month later. Hello, I've decided to tell you about my never-ending story. The black and white video begins. Todd can only be seen from her nose down for most of the video, occasionally moving around so that her face is visible. She silently tells her story through a series of white cards with black marker writing on them. She describes using webcam chats to meet and talk to new people online as a 7th grade student. She said that people told her she was stunning, beautiful, and perfect, and a man pressured her to flash her chest. 1 year later, she did. Todd received a Facebook message from a man she did not know, saying that if she did not put on a show for him, he would send the picture of her chest to everyone. Over Christmas break, Todd said police came to her house at 4 a.m. to tell her that the photo had been sent to everyone. I then got really sick and got anxiety, major depression, and panic disorders. I then moved and got into drugs and alcohol. Remember, this is a 15-year-old girl we're talking about. Mm-hmm. A year after moving, Todd said things were going better until the man on Facebook came back and used the photo of her chest as his profile picture. Todd said she cried every night, lost all my friends, and respect people had for me again. I can never get that photo back. It's out there forever. She described being called names, eating lunch alone, and resorting to cutting herself. She also told the story of an incident where she had made a huge mistake and hooked up with a boy at her school who had a girlfriend, but who she believed really liked her. A week later, she said she received a text message telling her to get out of the school, and then a group of students led by the boy's girlfriend surrounded her at school and said, "Look around, nobody likes you." A girl then yelled, "Just punch her already," and so the girlfriend did. She threw me to the ground and punched me several times. Kids filmed it. I was all alone and left on the ground. Todd said she wanted to die so bad when her dad found her in a ditch. She drank bleach when she went home and had to be rushed to the hospital to have her stomach pumped. After I got home, all I saw was on Facebook, "She deserved it. Did you wash the mud out of your hair? I hope she's dead." Todd moved to another school in another city, but said the torture followed her through Facebook. Students posted posted photos of ditches and suggested she try another bleach. Every day I think, why am I still here? She asked towards the end of the video. I'm stuck. What's left of me now? Nothing stops. I have nobody. I need someone. My name is Amanda Todd. Authorities were called to a residence in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, just before 6 p.m. on October 10th to investigate the sudden death of the tormented teenager. While authorities have not officially called the death a suicide, Corporal Jamie Chung of Coquitlam Royal Canadian Mounted Police said in a statement, "At this time, it has been determined that the teen's death was not suspicious in nature and that foul play was not a factor. The coroner is investigating the death." Let's see. Todd said in her video that she did not want to press charges against the girl who beat her up because she wanted to move on. When she moved to another city and school, police did not immediately respond to ABCNews.com's question whether there was a probe into the man who used Todd's Facebook photo in an effort to exploit her and then made it public. Todd's family has declined to speak, but Cheryl Quinton, spokeswoman for the Coquitlam School District, told ABCNews.com the family was wanting to pass along that several supports were in place for their daughter on the school, home, and community levels. There was a lot of intervention and a lot of support. I know that is the message they all want to convey. Todd was in the 10th grade when she died. School officials would not release the name of her previous school. Quentin said the death has been very devastating to the small school, where resources are being provided to students in regards to suicide prevention and bullying. We typically, as a school district, don't talk about such deaths, but with the family's endorsement, we did choose to do so because it is important to point out the dangers associated with social media and cyberbullying. I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard that cause of death was hanging. I do also know that a memorial page has been set up for her on Facebook, and as of the last count, there were over 600,000 members on it.
Okay, so we're all rallying together now for her. Where were some of these people when the trolls were getting to her?
Exactly.
I mean, those girls that stood around and videotaped that, they're just as guilty as the guy who took the picture of her.
That is disgusting. That is the most disgusting story I have ever had to read in my life. Coming from someone who battled with suicide and all of this when I was a kid, around the same age that this girl was, this isn't easy at all. You need someone. I only wish that I had seen this video sooner. I think a small part of everyone who has read the story or heard it wishes they had seen this sooner.
And the thing is, the people that did see it, you know, I mean, a lot of them felt as if they had no power. But, you know, I really hope those girls that stood around and watched that fight go down, I hope they can sleep well at night. I really do. I mean,
enjoy that blood on your hands.
Pack mentality is just such a terrible thing. But, you know, they are just as guilty as that guy who took the photo. So, anyway.
I'm tired of people going, oh, this person's 15, this person's a teenager. Oh, it's just teenage angst. Well, you know, how much longer do we have to go? How many more stories like this have to come across before people finally understand that it's not necessarily just teenage angst?
Well, teenage angst has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So maybe what they're calling calling teenage angst is actually mental breakdown. It's actually suffering in silence. You know, it's not necessarily just a chemical imbalance. Quite often there's a proper, real reason for it. And a lot of the time medicating, yeah, that can help, but unless you're actually dealing with the proper issue at the root of the problem, it's not going to help.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're going to shift track a little bit, but not by very much. Everyone, I really, really hope has heard of this story because it is very important. Thousands rally for shot girl in Pakistan. October 15th. Tens of thousands have rallied in Pakistan's largest city in support of a 14-year-old girl who was shot and critically wounded by the Taliban for promoting girls' education and criticising the militant group. The demonstration in the southern city of Karachi on Sunday was by far the largest since Malala. Oh, sorry, sweetie, you've got a really, really, really hard to pronounce last name. So I'm going to have a go at it.
Yusufzai, I think.
Yusufzai, yeah, something like that. And two of her classmates were shot on October 9 while returning home from school in Pakistan's northwest. The attack horrified people inside and outside Pakistan and sparked hope among some that it would prompt the government to intensify its fight against the Taliban and their allies. But protests against the shooting have been relatively small until now, usually attracting no more than a few hundred people. That response pales in comparison to the tens of thousands who held violent protests in Pakistan last month against a film produced in the US that denigrates Islam's Prophet Muhammad. Demonstrations in support of Yousafzai and against rampant militant violence in the country in general have also been fairly small compared to those who focused on issues such as US drone attacks and the NATO supply route to Afghanistan that runs through Pakistan. Pakistan's mainstream political parties are often also more willing to harangue the US than direct their people power against Islamist militants, shedding blood across the country, partly out of fear and partly because they rely on Islamist parties for electoral support. One of the exemptions is the political party that organised Sunday's rally in Karachi, the Mutahida Qawmi movement. The party chief Altaf Hassan criticised both Islamic and other mainstream political parties for failing to organise rallies to protest the attack against Yousafzai. He called the Taliban gunmen who shot the girl beasts and said the shooting was an attack on the ideology of Pakistan. Malala is a beacon of knowledge. She is the daughter of the nation, Hassan told the audience by telephone from London, where he is in self-imposed exile because of legal cases pending against him in Pakistan. Many of the demonstrators carried the young girl's picture and banners praising her bravery and expressing solidarity. Malala was shot in the neck and the bullet headed towards her spine. On Sunday, she was successfully taken off a ventilator for a short period and later reconnected to avoid fatigue, the military said. Doctors are satisfied she is making a slow and steady progress and will decide whether to send her abroad for treatment. The United Arab Emirates plans to send a specialised aircraft to serve as an ambulance for the girl in case the doctors decide to send her abroad. Now, she got shot because she is a girl and she wanted to go to school.
Mm-hmm. She wanted to learn. She wanted to experience what we were talking about earlier of losing yourself in a book.
Yep. So because
That's
she
pathetic.
wanted to learn how to read, she wanted to learn about the world, she wanted to find her own truth, her own journey, a bunch of men decided to shoot her.
And very well could have killed her.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that her two friends didn't make it. So, you know.
That's disgusting.
Cowardly on a whole other level.
Yeah.
But in a way, I mean, you know, she is the face now of the struggle of women, I think, in some of these countries in the East. Because
even in places like, you know, the United States or Canada or all these other countries, you know, this is a woman who basically is standing up for women's rights. And, well, even in the great country of the United States, sarcasm, we're still having that battle.
Exactly. And when you think about it, okay, sure, the Middle East and those places that surround, you know, Afghanistan and places like that, I think it's because they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
They are afraid that if women are given the power of knowledge, that they will have to be accountable for their behaviour. So, just a little bit of food for thought, people. So, you know, maybe our soldiers are over there for a real cause.
And one other thing, before we get off topic
Okay.
of all this,
Mm-hmm.
definitely be thankful for what you have. You know, it's really easy when, you know, shit hits the fan or things just aren't quite going right to sit there and go, man, I wish I had more.
Mm-hmm.
And we often take for granted what we have.
We do.
These two stories, I hope, in some way, will shine some light that you should appreciate what you have.
Very much so. Now I'm tossing up whether we're going to go overtime and just, you know, put some levity in this damp, sad old place now. I think we better.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yay, I get to read the Australian one, and it's about chicken.
I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight.
Wow.
That's going to get stuck in your head. Haha.
Yep. Don't worry, I'll get you back. Your birthday's coming up.
I know, isn't it great?
It's Monday. You probably want chicken tonight.
Actually, no, I had chicken last night, so...
I've not had chicken in a really long time.
Really?
I'm trying to think now when the last time I had chicken was. Last week. Anyway, Australia, we know what you eat. So you're all chickens because, you are what you eat.
Well, yeah.
Bark, bark, bark! That's going on a soundbite. I know it. Anyway, our appetite for weeknight dinners is influenced by what day it is, not just what's in the fridge or pantry. Chicken and meatloaf are the most popular on Mondays and Tuesdays, risottos on a Wednesday, and Mexican and stir-fries on Thursdays, according to data from the nation's there you go. Nation's biggest recipe website. And every time I see the word risotto, I think of David Tennant acting like a complete fairy going, risotto, risotto, risotto! Anyway.
I agree with the Mexican on Thursdays. I can't eat risotto, so maybe a stew on Wednesday, I don't know. And maybe. I have never ever cooked a meatloaf, so...
Meatloaf. Blah. Anything with the word loaf in it just doesn't sound appealing.
Oh, bread loaf is okay.
Well, yeah. There is though. Okay, fine. Touché. Anyway, winding down for the weekend, people look for pizzas and sausage rolls that the children can have fun with on a Friday. That is true.
No, pizza's usually Tuesday because that's usually the night that I go, what do you want for dinner? And they all go, I don't know.
I hate that.
It's like...
As a side note, my mom and I have decided that we're going to start a restaurant chain called I don't know, I don't care, whatever.
I don't know. I can remember my mum telling me about this, really nasty soft drink that was around a while back. Like, I think it must have been decades and decades and decades and decades ago. I don't know whether it was actually sold or whether it was just a gimmick or whether it was something that someone made up. But basically the dregs of what was left over in bottles and stuff was basically mixed together, and when you said, what do you want to drink? And they go, oh, whatever. That was what you got. And yeah. Ew.
Anyway, that's right up there with the bugs, I think.
Mm-hmm. So you actually pick what you want to drink, because otherwise you'll really end up with whatever, and you don't want that.
Anyway, while it's mostly about sweets and baking on weekends, not so much. Pork belly is most fashionable Saturday special occasion meal, along with a Sunday roast. I could see the Sunday roast thing. We do that sometimes here.
I haven't roasted meat in a really long time.
Let's see. Pork belly is the new lamb shanks, which we expect to see served on the Christmas table this year. Ew! No!
What?
Wrong!
No. Pork belly's yummy.
No, it's supposed to be... No.
It's supposed to be ham.
And turkey and stuff. No! People do Christmas wrong!
Well, when you're living in the place where Christmas is actually in 35-degree heat, roast meats are usually served cold because it's too damn hot.
Hey, the best thing about Christmas is the next day.
Well, it depends on whether someone snuck potato in when they shouldn't have, for me. The next day can be the worst day.
True, but then you can always make a turkey sandwich and you're fine.
But we don't have turkey.
What? No, this is wrong. It's blasphemy. I call blasphemy. Australia needs to burn.
No, we don't do turkey. We do cold hams that aren't roasted or anything. They're just a ham. Sometimes when we splash out, we might get some prawns or shrimp, as you guys call them. Bread rolls, wilted lettuce, kind of crappy tomato. You know, that's Christmas for us.
That's weird. I don't like that.
I mean, my grandparents, now they would do a spread, man. They'd do like a roast beef, and there was like the roast pork, and oh, it was beautiful. But we never really did turkey because turkey can be a bit iffy when you cook it. So, yeah. Anyway.
See, turkey is kind of the tradition here. You don't get anywhere without turkey or ham, and people will still get angry if you have one or the other.
But not both.
Well, you can have both. Both is actually preferred. But, yeah. Anyway. Taste.com.au today launches the Great Australian Dinner Debate, a poll to determine the nation's dinner favorites. Oh, dear. Wonka-you. There we go. Wonka-you. That's her name now. Ironic, considering this is talking about food, and Christmas is now officially disgusting in Australia. Who picked the shortlist said the data based on online searches for recipes showed people were looking for more seasonally relevant choices. Spaghetti carbonara was the new
Bolognese.
What is that?
It's like spaghetti Neapolitan. So you got like all the tomatoes and stuff, but you just add mince.
That looks like bologna and just spelled weird.
Spag bowl, babe. It's the bestest. You haven't lived until you've had a good...
I'm gonna make this fun. I'm gonna butcher every word on this page. It's bolognese with the creamy egg and bacon pasta dish, beating the traditional mincemeat and tomato favorite in searches. Nikki Warpy says chicken is a mainstay on the menu at her Dernancourt. That sounds like one of those Ermagerd pictures. Dernancourt. Although the big roast dinner only eventuates every 2 to 4 weeks. She suspects young sons Ethan, 4, and Jackson, 3, are more excited about the roast potatoes when she has time to produce a roast. But we love chicken always, and I'm glad they like some vegetables too. She said it was usually easier to whip up Italian or Asian chicken. Asian chicken. Italian chicken.
Whip it good.
With pizza night more of a treat. Rebecca Huntley, a social researcher and author of the Ipsos Mackey Report into Eating Habits, said that weekly habits were driven by working parents, weekend shopping patterns, and a restaurant and cafe menus. Most people had eaten... Excuse me. That wasn't even in there at all. Good job, me. Had between 8 and 15 recipes in their repertoire, and what they cooked depended on what was in the fridge and how much effort they wanted to put into it. That is true.
Because come Friday night, it's a big old bunch of effort, and I'm not talking about E-F-F-O-R-T, I'm just talking about F***it. Yep.
I don't recommend trying to hump everything in your fridge. That's just wrong.
Then we'd have a whole new bunch of stories for next week.
Up the bum, up the bum, up the bum. And next week on Friday Ketchup, Belinda.
No, not me.
Oh
my God, not me. God. No. Ew.
Hey, don't feel bad, because when I first ended up single, my dad was cleaning out the refrigerator, and there was a cucumber laying on the floor. My mother looked at my dad and said, "Put that away before Rebecca gets ideas."
Ew. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
You're like, Mum. Seriously.
I'm not that desperate. I have batteries.
Exactly. Jeez, what do you take me for?
I did make my mom buy batteries, and I didn't tell her why until suddenly I stole 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. And yeah.
That landed into a whole different conversation that I might tell you about one day.
But not on air. So, yeah. So the Sunday roast is still in, but not in my household. I'm trying to think, how many recipes do I cook? I don't know. I mean, there's cooking and then there's just, like, opening a jar and, like, adding crap to, like,
Yeah.
the meat, which is generally the way I like to do things.
My idea of a homemade meal, even if it comes out of a box or put in the microwave, is something that you make at home. So if you just open a can of soup, chunk it in a bowl, throw it in the microwave, that's homemade.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not eating out, are you?
Exactly. Well, that's what's different. That goes back with the conversation we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, we got spaghetti bolognese. We got bolognese.
Bolognese.
There's a minestrone soup that I like to make. In winter, because this is really the only time you can find it, there's like pea and ham soup, but the ham is like a ham hock, so they've been cured and everything. It's like really good.
That's P-E-A?
Huh?
Don't... The way you said pea and ham sounded like you said pea in ham. So
Pea and ham.
I'm never going to Australia. You people eat some weird stuff.
No, it's good.
And apparently, okay, everything that I have learned about Australia, I have learned from this radio show. So you all walk around with things up the bum.
Nah.
You add baloney to strange things. You pronounce everything wrong. And you pee in your ham. And you don't have turkey at Christmas, so...
Well, some people do. It's just we don't. Like in my family. Generally
you don't
because...
pee in your ham.
Well, pea and ham soup, not pea. Oh my god. Oh, jeez.
Oh, and the spiders are so big in Australia that they all come with the little life bars above them.
Yep. Because I'm pretty
That's
sure...
my geographic lesson for the day.
I'm pretty sure that, like, some of you have seen... I don't know whether I posted it on Facebook anymore. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I did. About 6 months ago, 7 months ago, we actually opened our bathroom cabinet and there was, like, a huge huntsman just sitting on the box of toothpaste.
Please tell me that's a spider.
Yes, a huntsman is a spider, honey. It's not like the Snow White Liam Hemsworth thing happening. I know.
Because I just saw some guy hanging out in a cabinet with like a bow and arrow going, I'm waiting for you.
If there was a Hemsworth brother in my bathroom cabinet, you would not be hearing from me ever again. Because it would be just like, ee! But anyway.
24 porn sessions.
The ants would have a field day. Anyway. I think we're at the end of the show. Isn't that fantastic?
The ants are marching one by one.
Hurrah. Hurrah. Alrighty, we've had our sing-along for the day. We'll see you all next week for another episode of Friday Ketchup. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And this has been the Friday Ketchup, powered by the ParaQuest Radio Network. Remember to catch the Hostess with No Ghostess every Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the ParaQuest Radio Network.